plugins. So number one, so go to your page, I think it's page 194. Number one. If x is less than 0, which of the four values above is the greatest? Now, I see what you mean by plugin. So let's pick x equals -1 because it has to be less than 0. So this is -1, -3, -9, and -27. So which one's the greatest? 1 would be 8. 2. So m is odd, integer. Okay. Which of the following expression represents an even integer? Well, we have m plus 2, 2m minus 1, we have 3m minus 2, and 5m plus 1. So let's pick an odd number again. Pick an easy one. So we want an even. So which of these would equal an even? So if you plug in here, that doesn't work. That also doesn't work. That doesn't work. But the last one works, because 5 times 1 plus 1 is an even number, which is 6. Okay. That's on the next page. 3. A equals, so this is number 3. B over 5. B is not 0. What does 4b equal in terms of A? Okay. Alright, so let's figure out what B is first, right? So we have this in terms of A, so notice that, look at your multiple choice answers, right? So in terms of A, so we want this to look like this, right? Put B on one side and have everything in terms of A. So we can cross multiply, or we can multiply by 5 on both sides, right? Let's multiply this by 5, this by 5. These will go away, and we get that B is 5A. Now, question says, what is 4b? Well, we multiply this by 4. So going back, we know the value of b is 5a. If we multiply both by 4, which is what we want, it says that 4b equals 5 times 4 is 20a. And that's your final answer, which is B. 4. If a, b, and c are digits in the positive 3-digit integer ABC, okay? What is the decimal equivalent of ABC times 10 to the negative third? Well, if ABC are positive 3-digit, so let's just take 1, 2, 3. What is the decimal equivalent of this times 10 to the negative third? Right? So think about it for a second. So these are my numbers, and I multiply by 10. What do I get? 1. Right? So I multiply by 100. So look at the pattern. Right? So we get 123 times 1,000. What's the pattern? Right? But in this case, 10 to the negative third, right? Go back to your laws of exponent. How do I rewrite that with a negative exponent? That's 1 over 10 to the third. Right? So think about what this is. 123 divided by 10 would be 12.3. 123 divided by 1 over 10, which is the same thing as divided by 100, would be 12.3. Sorry, 1.23. Oops. Right. So we're moving the decimal to the left. And then 123 times 1 over 1,000, well, if you move the decimal 1 more, you get 0.123. Okay. So the answer to that, well, actually, oops. So what ends up happening here is that the decimal that's here, I see the multiple choice, they left it in terms of A. So it's ABC times 10 to the negative 3, right? So there's my decimal. So we move the decimal 1, 2, 3. So it's 0 point ABC. That's it, which is F, and this was question 5. A plus B is less than A, which of the following must be true? A is less than 0. A is equal to 0. A is greater than, B is greater than 0, or B is less than 0. So if you think about it, so we're adding something to A. So here's A. We're doing something to it, adding this, and that becomes less than that. So let's think about a number 5, and I'm adding something to this so that it ends up being less than 5. So this has to be, well, if this was a 5, it has to be, well, if it's a positive number, well, if it's greater than A, which is multiple choice, sorry, if it's less than A, does that make sense? Right, so the only way that this would work if B here, this B, well, if I put a number greater than A, 6, 7, 5.1, that's not going to work. If it's 4, 3, 2, 1, but right, 4.9 and less, 3, 2, 1, 0, and so forth and so forth. All of these works. So what choices we have? S, A is less than A is, well, it's not about A, it's about B. What does B have to be? Can B be greater than 0? Well, if B is greater than 0, there you go. I should just look at multiple choice. So if B is greater than 0, which is 1, this is not going to give us our original inequality, right? So B can't be greater than 1. Even if B is 0.001, and I'll put this 0.0001, that still won't make the inequality true, right? So if B says less than 0, well, let's try less than 0. -1. 5 plus -1 is 4, which is less than our original value that we chose here in our example for 5. So the only one that makes sense here is D. C, A times B equals C, C equals KB, BC different than 0. Which of the following is equal to K? Okay. So we know. So here we know what C is. I can plug this one over here. So this is number 6. And well, let's do that. So I know that C equals AB. So if I come over here, replace C with AB, I get this, right? And then we can divide both sides by B to simplify this even further. And I get that K, sorry, I get that K equals A. So this one would be G. 7, she's been teaching math for 8 years, less than twice as long as Mr. Thompson. Thompson has been teaching math for 8 years, less than twice as long as Miss Simmons. And I'll write Miss Simmons, right on S. So Mr. Thompson, and then remember, it's actually, this expression actually becomes 2s minus 8, right? Because it's less than. If Miss Simmons has been teaching math for X years, which of the following expressions represent the number of years that Mr. Thompson has been teaching math? Well, here we go. 2s minus 8, or they use x in this particular problem, so 7 would be B. Number 8, A is an even integer, okay? Which of the following represents the next even integer greater than A? Well, if that's an integer, the next one following that would be A plus 2, right? So that this one is F. Right, so if A is 2, and you add 2 plus 1, right? that would get you 3. But if you add 2 to the original 2, that gets you to the next even integer. So that's why the answer is F. Number 9 says A is greater than B. Okay, how much greater is the sum of C and A than the sum of C and B? How much greater is the sum of C plus A than the sum of C plus B? All right, so let's pick C is 5. And let's say that A, so let's say A equals 2 and B equals 1, right? We have that condition met. And let's pick a number, C. I pick C 5. So let's do this. So if this is 5, A equals 2. And this is B is 5 as well, and B equals 1. How much greater is the sum of C and A than the sum of C and B? Well, this would be 7 and this would be 6. Let's see. Okay. C minus A is how much greater? So how much greater is this than this? This is actually, what's the difference? 1, right? So this is 1 greater, right, in our example, than this guy. C minus A, well, if you take C minus A, what's C minus A? C minus A is 5 minus 2, which gives us 3. No. 2C minus B, 2 times 2C minus B, which would be 2 times 5 minus 1, which equals 9, right? That doesn't really work. A minus B, well, A minus B is 2 minus 1. That's 1, which is what the difference that we got was. And then A plus B, 2 plus 1, which is 3. So of all the other choices, which one represents the difference between these two? The only one that really worked was that one. So 9 is C. 10, x and y are odd integers. Which of the following must be also odd? All right. So they're odd. Well, let's say x equals 1 and y equals 3. E doesn't work. F, well, let's do F. X minus 1 times y. 1 minus 1 is, no, that's going to be 0 times y. 1 and then F doesn't work. G, if you look at G, is x plus 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2 times 3 is 6. That doesn't work as well. Let's look at H. H says, well, if x is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, plus an odd number, 3, that gives us 5. So the only one that works is H, x plus 1 plus y. Okay, so Q minus 1/4 P equals 0. What is P when Q equals 1? Well, let's just substitute. So we want P equals something when Q equals 1. All right, so let's substitute. Uh-oh. Okay, that's all right. So I'm actually doing 12. I just looked. That's 12. I'll come back to 12 to 11. So let me misread it. Well, let's substitute. So if Q is 1, 1/4 P equals 0. So we can do minus 1 on both sides. We get 1/4 P equals negative 1. We can multiply both sides by negative 4/1, which is the reciprocal. That goes away, right? Simplify. Gives me positive P, and here it gives me positive 4. So 12 is H. 11. Phone company calling plan costs $1.30 per day plus, wow, 13 cents per minute. Which of the following represents the total charge in dollars of having this international plan and talking X minutes in one day? So it would be, oh, so if you want to know what your charges are in just one day, well, you know for sure you're gonna pay $1.30 for the whole day. So A's gone, and then 13 cents per minute. So 13 cents times, do they call it M? No, they don't call it X. So if you talk for 1 minute, you're gonna pay $1.30 plus 13 cents times 1, which is 13 cents, which is gonna be 143. But A is not incorrect because they're assuming you're talking 1 minute. We don't know how many minutes you're talking. So the only equation that describes this would be which one looks like this? C. Okay, so 11 is C. Okay. Okay. 194, 197. First one. Wait, I just did. Sorry, when all the sheets are separated. 13. Here's a wall. Place color tape on the floor. 3 rectangulars. Okay. 3 the other. Okay. The overall dimension of area are x and y if the shape hang on. three of the outer edges of that's x is the width, right? The height, and y is the length of just one rectangle. What is the total length of tape that is needed to mark the 3 outer edges of the area as well as divide into 3 sections? Okay, so we can make an equation here. Well, let me just draw some. This is the wall, and apparently there's this. Right, so this is X and this is Y. So we need tape, and now highlight. I think we need tape for this. That's what they're saying. We want to mark this in yellow tape. Okay, so how much tape do I need? Well, I know that's X, this is X, this is X, and this is X, and this is Y, and this is Y. So that's what I have here. That's what I understand. Or are they saying that okay, three of the outer edges of the area will be marked by tape. The four side bound by the class. Okay, the overlap of the mark area are X and Y. The overall dimensions. So I gotta take that back. I think they mean that this is X and this is Y. Because looking at the answers at the bottom, so we can say that this whole area is X times Y, which is 600, length times width. What is the total area of tape that is needed to mark the 3 outer edges of the area? Okay. So that's X. I know this is X, and I know this is X, and I know this is X. That's for sure. This whole thing is just Y. So let me put it in there. So I want the whole. What do I need for tape? So I know to mark this. I need this much tape, right? Yellow tape, this much yellow tape? Yes, my yellow tape. So I have 4x. Now this y over here, oh, I see what they did. This y over here, how do I know the length of it? I mean, how with the information I have? Well, I have it right here. So x times y equals 600. If I divide this by x and divide this by x, I know what y is. Y is 600 over x. So this, from here to here, is 600 over x. So how much tape do I need? I need 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x length of tape plus 600 over x. And nope. What did I do wrong? A is not it. Doesn't look. 600 of x, that doesn't have 4. 3x. B doesn't match. C, 4x plus 1800 over. Shoot. This, by the way, letter C says. Letter C says, if you guys look at it, 4x plus 1800 over 3x. When I simplify 1800 and 3, don't I get 600 over x, which is what we had before. All right, so the answer is C. Wow. 14. During a sale, customer bought one book for $B. Okay, each additional cost one, so one book equals DB dollars. Each additional cost is D dollars, letter D. For example, the cost of the second book is B minus D. Oh, D dollars minus D dollars less than the first book. Oh my god. So it's B minus D. So that's the additional book. So if you bought one book, that would be your first, right? The first book. If you bought a second book, then the second book would be B minus D. If you bought the third book, right, it's still B minus D. Okay? Which of the following expressions represent the total cost in dollars of 5 books during the sale? So think about it. So again, each additional book, so the fourth book is B minus D, and the fifth book is B minus D. So we have something that is a little bit, so we can combine like terms, right? So if you can combine, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5B. And then we have negative D, negative D, negative D, negative D, negative 4D, which is letter H. Okay. 15. 2A equals 5B. 5B equals 6C. What does A equals in terms of C? A equals in terms of C. So I want A in terms of C. Let's see what so if I replace this, so I can replace this B here. I know what 5B, what did I say? 5B equals 6C. So I know that this 5B, and so instead of writing 2A equals 5B, I can write 5A equals 6C, because 5B and 6C has the same value. So these are interchangeable, right? So now I can write A in terms of C. So divide by 2 on both sides, and A equals 3C. So the answer for, 15 is C. 16 movie. Ooh, maybe that's what we can do. Take my wife to the movie today. $M. It's raining. During a sale, if a customer buy one ticket for $M, each additional cost buys he buys costs $N less than the first ticket. So first ticket cost you $M. Second ticket, we're gonna cost M, whatever you paid, minus N. Okay, which of the following represent the cost in dollars of X tickets during the sale? So it doesn't matter how many. So it's gonna be something plus M, right? So let me just, if you guys did sequences, right? Last year, if you remember the sequences we did in class. So, and this is the nth ticket, or right, always going to be. So notice what's happening here. So it's going to be this repeating m minus m, m minus n, m minus n, m minus n, and there's a plus here, right? And so forth. But the one thing is for sure is you paid for this ticket. So here's your first ticket paid for. And then this repeats however many times that you bought the ticket. So if you bought 5 tickets, it'd be 5 times m minus n, right? If you bought 15 tickets, it would be that. If you bought 150 tickets, it'd be 150 minus the difference of m minus n plus the first ticket. So, but since we don't know how many tickets, what did they use? They use x? Yes, they use x, so we can use x too. And there's my expression. And that looks like letter F. During sale, just costs $N, and for example, the cost of the second ticket is M minus N, okay? Which of the following represents the cost in dollars of X tickets during the sale? And hang on a second. We're just saying otherwise. So let's say I bought 2 tickets. One ticket for $M, each additionally costs N less than the first ticket, okay? The cost of the second ticket is M minus N dollars, all right? I think it's F. If I find otherwise, I'll let you know. So 16, I'll put a circle on this. Let me know if you get something different for 16. 17. There are 25% more girls than boys enrolled at Hillcrest High. So, if B boys are enrolled, then in terms of B, what percent of those enrolled are boys? Okay. So boys. Let's use boys and girls. So the number of girls is 1.25% times the number of boys. Right, so here's an example. If there were, can I use 10? Yeah. If there are 10 boys, right, you would multiply 10 times 1.25 and you get the number of girls. Well, we know that's going to be, well, maybe it should use 100. Good, that. Right, so 100 times 1.25 gives you 125. All right, so we have the number of girls in terms of boys here. All right, so what do they want? If there be boys enrolled, okay, X number of boys enrolled, then in terms of B, what percent of those enrolled are boys? What? All right, so if there's B boys enrolled, that means there's going to be 1.25 times the number of boys. That would be the number of girls. Let's think about this for a second, right? So the total school population is going to be the number of boys plus the number of girls, which is represented by that. And we want to know what percent of those are boys. Well, it would be the number of boys divided by that. Which we have as, jeez, hang on. Trying to see if, well, what we can do. Let's stick to the example that I have. There was 100 boys, there's going to be 125 girls. So if you think about it, the total population of the school is 225. So if you want to know how many boys there are, what percentage of school would be 100 divided by 225, and 44% of the school is boys. That's what we're doing here, and that's what we're doing if we don't know the number of boys. The number of boys would be B, the number of girls would be 1.25B. The total population is those two, but this doesn't look like any of the ones at the bottom. So let's play it. Let's use a number 100 and 125. So on the first one, 100 is the total number of boys. The total B plus 25 would be the total number of girls. 125. But that's not right because at the bottom we need the total number of the school population, right? Which we know to 25. So A doesn't work. B is a number of boys. So let me lower this just a little bit. So again, B is a number of boys, which in case we have 100. And at the bottom we have 2.25 times 100. Well, if you multiply 2.25 times 100, you get 225, which, that was this at 225, which is, you find the percentage. That seems to work. 100. Divided by 2.25. Yeah, it's the same thing. So B, I'm going to think about. C, 100 times the number of boys, which we're using 100 as an example, times B plus 25. That doesn't work. I'm not even, because the C is not the population of the school. D says 100 times the number of boys. And 225 times the number of boys, which is 100 as well. So this can actually simplify. We have 100 times what in heavens. Oh, does it show this expression, by the way, which we did correctly? It's b, and if I can combine like terms here, it becomes 2.25b, which and I see what they did, and then times 100%, right? So the correct answer is D. Oh my god. So let me start this again. 17. Boys and girls. So if there are B boys, the number of girls would be 1.25 times B, right? So example, if there's 100 boys and you want to know how many girls there are, you will multiply 100 times 1.25, and that gives you, that's 125, right? So that expression represents. So we want to know the percentage of boys in the school, right? So to find the percentage of the boys, it would be the number of boys over the total population. Well, the total population is made up of all the boys, which is represented by B, plus 1.25B. Now, if you leave it like that, and let's just use the number 100 and 125 as an example. So B is 100, right, number of boys. 100, I'm using the formula, 1.25B, right, 1.25 times 100, and then that continue here, that's going to be 100 over 225. If you take that 100 and you divide by 225, you end up getting 0. And I'm 0.444444 forever, which it's still in decimal format. So we have to multiply that by 100 to get 44.4 repeating percent. The population of the school is 44.4 repeating percent. Now, what did I forget here in the formula is, if you look at all the process that we did to get to the percentage, is this part right here, times 100. Right, because you got to take that, it's going to be a decimal, you got to multiply by 100. Now, look at your multiple choice. The only one that looks like this, right, and to further make it easier for us to see, well, B is just B. This is an invisible 1. We can combine like terms, so that becomes 2.25B, right? And then times 100, is there anything that looks like that? Well, not quite, but if you look at letter D, you have 100B, which they multiply these two guys here, over 2.25B. So 17 is D. Well, tricky. Okay, definitely. I still want to go back to 16. 18. A total of G eggs were transported to the market. Okay, each crate that were used to transport the eggs could hold a maximum of M eggs. If one crate had 5 empty slots, and the remaining crates were filled, so you had, C for crates, and there was one crate that had M eggs. So one crate had M minus 5. Which of the following express the relationship of G, C, and M? G is the total number of crates, total number of eggs. The total number of eggs, oh my god, the total number of eggs, now I'm going to write it. So the total number of eggs that were transported is represented by G. That's what that is. It's equal to the total number of crates, right? However many crates. And they had M eggs in each crate. So if there's, so imagine a crate, right? And each crate, if you multiply all these, it's M. So one crate has M times C. So if you had 2 crates, it'd be 2 times whatever, M representing the total number of eggs in the crate. So let's go M times the number of crates, okay? Or the number of crates times N actually would be better. The number of crates times M. So if this crate has 30 eggs, and you take 1 crate, that would be 30 eggs. If you had 2 crates, it'd be 60 eggs. If you had 3 crates, it'd be 90 eggs, and so forth and so forth. So total number of eggs is equal to the number of crates times the number of eggs in the crates, plus we had 1 crate. If 1 crate had 5 empty slots, and the remaining crates are filled, which are following. So 1 crate had C minus 5, because no. 1 crate had M minus 5, I apologize. Okay, so now what do we go? So again, let's just confirm this. The total number of eggs equals total number of crates, right? If you have 5 crates, you multiply by 30. So let's just assume that each crate has 30. So if you have 6 crates, you multiply by 30, you get 80, 180. But there was 1 crate that had not all the slots filled. So instead of 30, they had 25. Okay, so let's say the truck had 12 crates full of eggs and one crate which can carry 30 eggs. These 5 were missing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you do the math, it would be 12, and we're using these 2 numbers as an example. 12 times 30, right? Because there's 12 crates. Each crate has 30 eggs, so that would be 360. Plus one of the crates which carry 30 eggs, well, it's missing 5, so plus 25. So total would be 385. And that's an example. Okay, so I just want to make sure that we got this correct. So now, but if you look at the multiple choice, there's nothing that really looks like this. Okay, and this is where your factoring, right, from last year kind of comes in and helps. So how do I make this look? Now, G equals C times M plus M minus 5. Good question. Hey, hang on a second. C times G equals see. If I'm trying to look at the multiple choice here, so I don't have to do this. What I can do is shorten my expression. So again, starting again. So let's say I had, so again, let's start with the idea that each crate holds 30 eggs, right? There's 30 eggs in each crate. So let's say we had 12 crates, right? 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, but the 12th one is missing 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 missing. So the expression actually is going to be the G, which is the total eggs. The total eggs are the number of crates times the number of eggs in each crate. So C times, in this case, let me choose. So we had 12 crates that were taken to the market times 30 times 30 because each crate has 30. But remember the last one is missing 5. So I'm going to multiply 12 times 30. And then I have to subtract 5. So 12 times 30 is 360 minus 5. So I'm actually carrying 355 eggs to the market. Going back. So G equals, and 12 represents the number of crates. 30 represents the number of eggs, which is M. There is my expression. Which still doesn't look like anything that oh, here we go. And then they want to leave minus 5 here. So what are they doing here? Well, it's not G. I don't know what CG is. So this is my expression. Okay. And I'm going to leave 18 as that. So 18 and 16, I got to find an answer. This is the simplified expression than what I have written before. But they don't have Cm minus 5, Cm plus 5 equals G. C times G. So what they're saying is that the number of crates times the number of eggs, the total equals M minus 5. Okay. My G plus 5 equals Cm. I think I'll divide both sides by M. That doesn't do anything. All right. I'm not going to spend more time. So 18, that's what I have. So get back to me if you find something. If you think it's something. The only one that has Cm, the number of crates times the number of eggs, minus 5 equals G. So 18 is E. There we go. Oh my God, there's the answer. So, sorry, we had the answer. 18 is E. Oh my God. Saturday morning, guys. Give me a break. 19. X and Y are positive consecutive odd integers. X is greater than Y, so let's pick 5 and 3. Which the following is equal to x squared minus y squared. What? Alright, if you actually do this, x squared minus y squared, so let's actually just do this. So we get 5 squared minus 3 squared, which is 25 minus 9. and that gives us 16. So which of A, B, and C? Well, if you multiply 4 times y, which is 3, we get 12. So A is not it. B is 2y plus 2. So let me just go straight to the 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 it's 8, which is not 16, so B is out. C, 2 times 3, which is 6 plus 4 is 10, so C is not it. And D, 4 times 3 is 12, plus 4 is 16, so D is the only one that works. Okay. 20. There's more. Sorry, I made the video a little longer than I thought. If the average of A and B is Z, so average A plus B divided by 2 is Z, that's what they mean. And A plus 2 is 2Z. Well, if you cross multiply from that, right, you got A plus B equals 2Z. Okay, so far so good. Therefore, the average of A and B and C equals right? A and B, the average of A and B plus 2 equals Z, which of the following is the average of A plus B plus Z. Hang on a second, let me go back. A plus B plus C divided by 3 is 3Z. But we can cross multiply. So our first, right? So we can change this to A plus B equals 2Z when we cross multiply. So I know that oops, A plus B is 2Z. I can come here to my third equation, because the third equation says A plus B plus C divided by 3 is, that's what they want to know, right? Hang on a second. What am I confusing this one? A plus B divided by 2Z. That one I knew. I cross multiply, I get A plus B equals 2Z. Okay, what's the average of A plus B? So A plus B plus divided by 3 equals well, okay, I see that they have a Z. So what I can do is, guys, if you think about it, let me highlight this. I can take this, A and B, and replace it with 2Z that I got from the first equation. So I get 2Z plus C over 3 is the average. And that is H. 21. M plus 5 equals Z. Therefore, 2m plus 10 equals what? Well, notice that m plus 5 and 2m plus 10. If I double, if I multiply this by 2, 2 times m is 2m. 2 times 5 is 10, right? So now I have 210. And if I multiply this side by 2, I must multiply the other side by 2. So I get 2z. So 2m plus 10 is the same thing as 2z, which is B. 22. How old was Kim 1 year ago if m years ago she was n years ago? How old was Kim? Hang a second, 22. If m years ago she was n years old. So let's read that. M years ago she was n years old. So let's say 4 years ago, let me change that with some numbers. 4 years ago, she was 12 years old. Making that up. Okay? Which means that today, right, I need to know her age today. 4 years ago, she was 12 years old, which means so m years ago, she was n years old. So let's reverse that. So that means that today she is this plus this. So today she is 12 plus 4, right? So if you want to find her age today, it'd be 12 plus 4. So today she is 12 plus 4, which if you change it into the variables becomes n plus m. So that's her age today. Ooh, what's her age 1 year ago? Well, if that's her age today, 1 year ago should be whatever. So minus 1. So think about it. So if we're talking about Kim and I say, hey, 4 years ago she was 12 years old, how old is she today? Well, 4 years ago she was 12, that means she is 16 today, right? And then we want to know how old she was last year. That, well, 16 minus 1 gives us 15. So that's easy, right? You have the numbers. So replace the numbers, or what I did was write the statement down because this was confusing me. Replace it with some numbers, right? So 4 is m, n is 12. So just read that statement with numbers and then work backwards. Please tell me we have n, h. 23. After first term, so this is the first term. These are a series. This is the first term. Each term in the sequence is 2 greater than half of the previous term. So the next term is, so let's call this x. Let's call this n. The next term is 2 times greater than half, 2 times greater of n divided by 2, half of the preceding term. If x is the first term of the sequence and x is not 0, what is the ratio of the second term to the first term? So let's figure out what the second term is first. So let's just confirm. The second term is twice greater than half of the preceding term. So this one is going to be 2 times half. So it's actually going to be n again. It's 2 greater. Oh, I see. 2 greater. Sorry. 2 greater than half the preceding term. So this is going to be 2 plus n over 2. So what's the ratio of the second term to the first term? So second term, so we want the ratio of the second to the first. So we can go, the second one is 2 plus n over 2, sorry, 2 plus n over 2 over n. Did they want us to simplify or anything? If I multiply this, well, if I can, let's see, 2 plus n over 2 times the reciprocal, which is 1 over n, right? And then if I do this truly properly, I get 2 over n plus, and then this would be, if you think about 2 times 1 is, sorry, n times 1 is n, 2 times 2n is 2n, which I can simplify, and this actually becomes 2 over n plus a half. Which I can take and find comments. So again, take that 2 over n If you find common denominators, the common denominator is 2n. This would be 4, and this would be n. And we have c. I'm going to repeat c. So I feel like I might have. So, first term, second term. The first term is, they used x, so I'll call it x. The second term is 2 greater, so 2 plus, right, just translate, then half of whatever x was, so half of x. This is how we write half of x. Now they write the ratio of the second term to the first term. So let's write it as a ratio. Write as a ratio, we get the second over that. There's nothing that looks like this in your multiple choice answers, so you want to simplify this. Well, simplify this expression, we can multiply it out. So we get 2 plus 2 over x times, right, this is division, times the reciprocal of x. I mean, the reciprocal of x is 1 over x, and that's why I had 1 over x. Now, be careful because this has 2 terms, so that's why I previously put it in parentheses. I'll multiply these two first, and we get 2 times 1 over x is just 2 over x. So again, 2 times 1 over x, if you think about it, becomes 2 over x. Now, these two, 2 over x times 1 over x, which is not what I have. What do I do now? Oh, I see. Sorry, guys. X over 2. This is supposed to be x over 2. Half. So 2 times 1 over x is just that. And then this, if you multiply, right, so it's plus, and if you multiply, x over 2 times 1 over x, these can be simplified, and you just get a half. Now, that can still be, and then notice again that you can take it a step further, which what they did. So they found the common denominator between x and 2. The common denominator between x and 2 is 2x. And they just wrote all of that under one denominator. So think about it. What does x have to multiply by to get 2x? Well, you got to multiply by 2. So x times 2 is 2x, which is what we have. And then you multiply the bottom by 2, you have to multiply the top by 2, and you get 4. Plus, now 2 becomes 2x, right? How did that happen? You multiply that by x, and therefore you have to multiply the top by x, and 1 times x is x. And this finally looks like your final answer, which is x, which is letter C. And this was 23. M squared, blah, 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 minus 0, because when n equals 9, what is the value of m? So m plus 2 to the second power minus n equals 0. When n equals 9, let's n equals 9, that's what you're saying. So n plus 2 to the second power minus 9 equals 0. So this is a difference of perfect squares. So we can go n plus 2 equals positive 9. If we take the square root of this side, square root of this side, we get n plus 2 equals 3. And then minus 2 on both sides. No, minus 2 on both sides. That goes away. M equals 1. Quite complicated. 24 is E. 25. Challenging here. The sum of two digits that differ by 1 is x. The sum of two numbers that differ by 1 is x. All right, so let's go 5 plus 4 equals x. The sum of two numbers that differ by 1 is x, okay? In terms of x, what is the value of the greater of the two numbers? I see that. Well, I'm going to change the 5 and 4 to 2 and 1 because that's what the multiple choice answers did. So 2 plus 1 is x, right? The sum of two numbers that differ by 1 is equal to x. So in terms of x, what is the value of the greater of the two numbers? Well, this is the greater of the two numbers. So in terms um, so x is 3. What is the value of the greater numbers and two numbers in terms of x? So I guess we can just plug it in. So let's try a. If you plug it in a, we get 3 minus 1 over 2, which is 2 over 2, which equals 1. And that is not equal to 2, which is the greater number, so a doesn't work. B, what is b? X plus 1, so we have, well, now x is 3, so it's 3 plus 1. 3 plus 1 divided by 2. 3 plus 1 is 4, divided by 2 is 2. Does that give us our greater of the two numbers, which in this case we chose as 2? Yes, it does. So B is our answer. 26. X dollars for 10 ounces. And each ounce makes Y. 1 ounce makes Y cups. Okay. In terms of X and Y, what is the dollar cost of the tea leaves required to make 1 cup of tea? What is the cost of the tea Y cups? Okay. So we can do let's see. So let's pick an easy number. Somebody pick an easy number. Well, let's pick 100. So let's make x equals 100. If x equals 100, right? And I picked 100 because it's divisible by 10. That's the only reason. And that means that is $10 for 1 ounce. Okay. Now we need to pick something for cups. Something that's easy. 1 ounce can make white cups. 2 cups. So for here, I'm going to write that 1 ounce makes 2 cups. So therefore we know that 1 cup of tea is, so 2 cups for 1 ounce. So 1 ounce is $10. With $10, you can make 2 cups, right? So I can rewrite this and say that $10, I can make 2 cups. That means that for 1 cup of tea, it's $5. So let's see if I can use that information. So what is the cost of the tea leaves required to make 1 cup of tea? So 1 cup of tea is $5, which is half an ounce. And how would I get that? So 1 cup of tea would be X. If you substitute here, let's substitute the first one. So if you look at letter A, I'll put it here in this box. If you look at letter A, we have 100. 10 times 2, we get 20, which is 4. That's not what we want, so A's out. B, it's X times Y, so X times, sorry, Y comes into Y, we use 2 for Y. So 100 times 2, which is 200 over 10. And that's not going to work as well. So let's try C, or G in this case. Which is 10 times, sorry guys, 10 times Y, which is 2 over 100. That doesn't make any sense. So that is going to give us 20 over 100, which is 1/5. So G is out. Okay. H, 10x times Y, 10 times X, which is 100, is 1,000 over Y, which is 2. That's 500. So did I mess up something? Let's go back to E. 10 times 2 is 20. Oh, sorry. So if you look at A again, not E, like I said, not A, like I said, I actually meant E. So if you look at E, it says X 10 over times Y. If X in our example was 100 and 10 times Y is, where's that Y? We picked 2. So it's 100 divided by 20, which equals 5. Not the 4 that I said. And there we get our, guess that's the only one that works. Okay. 27. At the end of spring, one end of a spring is attached to a hook on the ceiling. A basket of apples is attached to the other end of the string, stretching to a length of 27 inches. Okay. The length in inches L. This is L. That is the length in inches L that the spring is attached. The stretch is given by the equation L equals 12 plus 2.5 m. L is 27, so the length is 27, so we can plug this and just solve. 12 plus 2.5 m, we're going to do minus 12 here, minus 12, so that gives us 25. Good. 2.5 m, divide by 2.5, divide by 2.5, and m equals, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, sorry, 15. 27 minus 12 is 15. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 2.5, 2.5, 6 times. So m equals 6. 28. B bottles of water per week. Each bottle sells for $D, okay? $1 D. stands for the sale. B stands for the bottles sold per week. Each bottle is $D. Right? What is the average number of dollars the store earns per day for selling bottles of water? Well, it's going to be total number of bottles, which is sold per week. Well, we're going to divide that by 7, and we're going to multiply that by that. Total number of bottles, each bottle is $D, so let's say you sold 400 bottles of Snapple. Alright, so if you sold 400 bottles of Snapple, and each bottle of Snapple was $3. Okay, each bottle was $3 per bottle. And you want the average that you sold per day, right? Well, 400 bottles per week. Well, if you sold $400 bottles per week and you want to know how much a store earns per day, well, per week you sold the whole week you sold 400, multiply that by 3, which is $1,200 that you made for the week, but you divide that by 7 because there's 7 days in a week, and that's the process you go through, so that matches this one. So 28 is G. Back page. 29. Class trip costs $D. Okay, which is supposed to be divided among equally among the S students. Class trip, right? Cost. Divide that by the students. That makes sense. If any students decide not to go on the trip and do not chip in for the expense of the trip, which of the following expression represents the additional amount in dollars that each of the remaining students must contribute? So we don't have all the students coming, so the cost. Did that go lower? Apparently not. All right, so let's just, it's a fixed cost. All right, so D on the top. And planning heavens. I guess they mean plugins for a reason, huh? Cost of trip, which is supposed to be divided into X number of X, so divided by S. So cost of trip D divided by S, the number of students would tell me how many. But we have less students coming. And not to go on the trip and do not chip in for the expense of the trip, which is the additional amount in dollars. Okay, it's the additional amount in dollars that each remaining student must contribute to pay for the trip. So that's the key here. All right. How much extra? So let's say the trip was $200 and you had 20 people coming. Okay. So each person would pay $10. Everybody okay with that? Cost, 20 students. So as of now, it'd be $20. Sorry, $10 per person, per student. But then, I don't know, keep it. 5 students said they don't want to come. So the cost is still the same apparently. Okay. But now we got 5 students are not coming, 5 are not coming. So we have 15 kids who will 5 are not coming. So we now have 15 kids who will share this cost. All right, so the cost per person, 200 divided by 15, please. Crap. It's now 13.3 repeating for one student. So the extra cost per person, it ends up being that everybody's going to pay extra $3.33. All right, let's just call it $3.33. I subtracted what the original cost was from the new cost, right? So 15 kids are coming. Now, how does that help me? I guess I'm going to have to plug in. Oh my God, a lot of plugins in this. Number one, letter A. Let's see. Total cost of the trip. So D. This is D, right? Across the street. N is the number of students not coming. S is the total. And this is the total cost, total students supposed to be coming. All right, so 17. So if I take D, which is 200 in our example, and then I do S minus N, and my S here was 20, N was 15, and I'm just going to use my numbers. 200 divided by 15 does not give me, so if you divide 200 divided by 15, it gives me how much the new charge is, but it doesn't give me the extra. I'm looking for one of the equations to give me this value here, 3.3, the extra money that they have to pay because the 5 people are not coming. So that is, it's not, is it A? It's not A. Let's try B. So B says D times N, so I'm going to multiply 200 times N, which is 5, over S minus N, which is 20 minus 5, which is 15. So does that work? I'm just going to do it in calculator. 20 times 5 is 1,000 divided by 15. That definitely doesn't work. So B is not even it. Right, so B is not even. C, D times, so again it's D, which is 200 times 15, because S minus N, over S, the number of 15, which is 20. Simplify. If you simplify that, you get 10, and then 10 times 15 is 150. No. So I'm looking for something that gives me this, right, in the original. Last one, D times N, so 20, so 200 times N, which is 5, right, the number of kids who are not coming, times the total number of kids, which was 20, times the difference of the kids who are coming and not coming, which is 5. Minus 5 is 15, times 20, that's outside, so let's see if that works. 200 times 5 is 1,000, divided by 20 times 5, which is 100, that gives us 10. That also doesn't work. What in the? D is total, which is 200, N was the number of kids not coming, S is 200 is the cost. 20 students are coming, so that's $10 per student. 5 students are not coming. Did I divide that incorrectly? Which is 13.3. So now the extra cost is, let's just multiply 3.3 times 15, you get 199, that's okay. 3.33 times 1, 15 times 15. Okay. D times. Okay, so let's think about it. Let me. Total 200, my example. And then S minus, this is 15. So this actually gives you the total that each person would have to pay. $13.33 because the 5 kids decided not to show up. So, but that's not what they want. They want which of the following represent the additional amount in dollars that each person now has to pay an extra $3.33. So A is not it. Close, but not it. B, multiply D, which is the total cost of the trip, 200, times N, the number of students coming, 5. Number of students coming, not coming, 5, okay. And then S minus N, which is the total number of students that were coming minus the 5. So divided by 5 doesn't even make sense, but I'm going to entertain this. This obviously is not it. B is D, the 200, S minus N, which is 15, over S, which is 20. So this and this simplifies to 10, and 10 times 15 is 150. That's not it either. So it has to be D. There's no have to anymore. 200 times the number of kids, S, N, who are not coming. What are you multiplying? Over S, the number of kids that are supposed to come, and times the number of kids S minus N is 15. Well, let's see, 1,000 divided by 300. There we go. This is what every student has to pay extra. Oh my god. So 29 is D. Jeez. Okay, I'm just going to use a calculator from now on. 30. The difference between two integers is x and y. So x minus y equals 4. What is the average of x and y? Well, if I took x times y divided by 2, I would get the average. I wonder what x and y is. So, hang on. Let's pick 10 and 6. 10 minus 6 equals 4. Alright. 10 times 6 divided by 2, which is 30. Okay, so that's doing it with numbers. And I want to find the average. I guess this is all about plugins. I keep missing the point of the problem. So 10 and 6 is 10 minus 6 is 4. 10 times 6 divided by 2 is 30. So pick one of your. I'm going to even erase this. Click on multiple choice and use the numbers 10 and 6 and see which one gives you 30. So A is 10 times 6 divided by 2, which is 10 minus 6 is, okay, so 10 times 6 is A. What is the average of, what do you call? Guys, it is Saturday morning. Average means add the two numbers up and divide by 2, which in this case 16 divided by 2, so the average is 8. So A obviously doesn't work because it's going to get 30. Oh my god. B, if you take Y minus 2, sorry, F, sorry, if you take Y minus 2, what's Y? Y is negative 6 minus 2, that gives you negative 8. That doesn't seem to work. 10 minus 6 equals 4, so that's x and that's y. 10 C, sorry, let me do C. X plus y, so x is 10, and hopefully you already saw my mistake, but I'm going to continue. X, let's start again. $30. Let's pick two digits whose difference is 4. So one is, I said, x minus y equals 4. So if x is 10, what does y have to be? So y have to be 6. If I do 10 minus 6, that works out. So let's look at A, which is, we want the average. So the average would be 10 plus. Now here's the problem though. If that 6 is actually this. I wonder if I can do it another way. If we do it, I'm trying to figure out to avoid those negatives. So let's make x 20 and let's make y 24. Okay. So they're saying that the difference of those two, integers is 4. So y minus x equals 4. So 24 minus 20 equals 4. What is the average? Well, if you take the average, it will be 24 plus 20. Divide that by 2. And 24 plus 20 is 44 divided by 2. You get 22. So the average is 22. Now, if you take choice A, B, C, D, which one will give you 22? So x times y, multiply, so choice A, if you multiply 20 times 24 and divide it by 2, do you think you're going to get 22? B, if you do y minus 2, do you think you're going to get 22? Yes. And the reason the first one wasn't working is because, and I guess if you have time to watch, you've got nothing better to do. Right, so B is the answer for 30. Now, let me try that, and I'm going to figure out why. So, if I did x is 24, y is 20. They're saying the difference between the two integers. So, if I did x minus 24, sorry, x minus y equals 4, which is what they're saying, the difference. So, that's 24. This is 20. Right, and then say they said take the average of those two. If you take the average, x times y, x plus y, sorry, take the average, 24 plus 20 divided by 2, 44 divided by 2 is 22. But if you look at this, right, and if we do that with x being 24 and y equals 20, let's look at our multiple choice x. Well, E is not going to work, so it's actually not A, it's E. E is not going to work. We know that because it's 24 times 20 divided by 2, and there's no way that equals 4, right? So we know that's not it. Sorry, there's no way that equals 2, so that's not it. B, or F, y minus 2. So y is 20 minus 2. So notice that this becomes 20 minus 2, which is 18. And then FG is x plus y, which is x 24 plus 20 divided by 4. That's also not going to go because it's 44 divided by 4, which is 11. But H, x plus y, which is 24 plus 20 plus 4 divided by 3. That also, obviously, 24 and 20, 48. 48 divided by 3 is 16. So this one's going to work. But now we go back to this. This is what I'm trying to figure out why it didn't work with this. I'm missing something. Because the difference between the average of those two is 22. The difference is 4. Well, so now I owe you 3 questions that I have to ask somebody on a very high nerd level. So, what was this? 30? Let me go back. 30. 17. Oh, no, 17 we figured out. 30, 30 and 16. I gotta do a better job on that. Okay. Those are plugins. 30 and 16.